A very good afternoon to all my seniors and colleagues. Thanks for having me here. Before I present to you, first of all, I would like to extend my gratitude to the worthy panel members, Dr. Dhiren sir, Dr. Urmil Shah sir, for providing me the opportunity to present a case in front of you. We'll be dealing with a case of right atrial mass, which is a very interesting case. I'll try to keep it short and simple. This 37-year-old gentleman, non-diabetic and normotensive, presented with the complaints of breathlessness on exertion since last 2 months. Patient also had a history of fever on and off since last 6 months and was managed for the dengue because the patient has findings of thrombocytopenia and leukocytosis. He was managed for dengue at some peripheral hospital, but later on he got evaluated some other hospital and which suggested of some right atrial thrombus and mass, and he was referred to SIMS hospital. Patient at the time of presentation had right-sided heart failure and congestive hepatomegaly. Patient also had symptoms of this bleeding per rectum for 2 to 3 days since last few weeks, which later on was evaluated and was found to be having large internal hemorrhoids along with superficial and deep ulcers in the rectum and the anal canal. Patient also had hematuria at the time of presentation, which was most probably because of thrombocytopenia. In the preoperative analysis and workup, hemoglobin was found to be normal. Patient also had leukocytosis with the platelet count was very low in the range of 30,000. Although the renal parameters were well preserved, but the liver enzymes were raised and total bilirubin was around 3.75. ECG revealed right bundle branch block, and we evaluated the patient for transesophageal echocardiography, which revealed a large mobile mass or a thrombus which was attached to the anterior tricuspid leaflet, which was extending from the annular level, and during the diastole it was reaching up to the pulmonary annulus, and during the systole the mass was collapsing into the right atrium. Patient also had a dilated right atrium and a dilated IVC along with mild pericardial effusion. These are the echo. So from here we can appreciate the large mass which is covering almost entire right ventricle, and during the diastole it is entering up to the pulmonary annulus. This is another view, RV focus short axis view. We can see the popping up of the mass in the right ventricle. The mass was originating from the anterior tricuspid leaflet, and further the CT was done to look for the extension of the mass and to look for the possibility of resection and look for any other lesions present in the mediastinum. CT was also suggestive of the same mass, which is very big and originating from the annular level, heterogeneous in density, and mass was also having a cystic cavity. Then we prep the patient for surgery with the aim of complete dissection of the tumor or the thrombus, along with the tricuspid valve repair if the leaflet could be preserved. But with the aim of replacement, if the leaflets are not able to be preserved, we put the patient on aortobicable cardiopulmonary bypass along with the integrated cold blood CP technique. We choose the normal aortic line for the anterior perfusion, and for the venous drainage, we took the percutaneous method, draining the right femoral vein for IVC and the IGV for the SVC. This is the intraoperative picture depicting the mass, which is glossy in color and popping out of the right atrium. From this we can have a better view. So the glossy mass, it is almost covering the whole of the right atrium even in the arrested state of the heart. So this seems to be the cavity which is present in the mass. This is the whole mass. This depicts the picture after the resection of the mass, but we are not able to preserve the anterior tricuspid leaflet because of the extensive attachment of the mass to that. And we put a bioprosthetic 29 mm tissue valve for the tricuspid position. This was the mass resected from the right atrium. Post-operatively, the patient was extubated on day first, and we put the patient on diuretics and managed in the post-operative period with ecosprin warfarin in view of the bioprosthetic valve to attain a target INR of 2.5 to 3.5. Shifted to ward on day 3 and was finally discharged on day 7. So this was the echo which was done on at the time of discharge, showing a normal prosthetic valve with no paravalvular leak or any stenosis. Post surgery, the lab parameters of patient, they show significant improvement in terms of platelet rise. Initially, the patient had platelets of 31,000, but after the surgery, the platelets they drastically improved and they went up to 1.2 lakh. And at the time of discharge, they were 3.78 lakhs. Hemoglobin was 9.1 at the time of discharge, and total leukocyte count was near normal at the time of discharge. INR was 3.78 as per our desired levels. So these are the high power views of the mass sent for the histopathology and immunohistochemistry. On histo, we come to know about that mass was a synovial sarcoma of a biphasic variant. Initially, it seemed to be a normal myxoma, but later on we found to be was synovial sarcoma with a TLE1 positive and EMA marker on immunohistochemistry was strongly positive. So the other differentials which could have been possible clinically, it could have been a myxoma on clinical presentation, RA thrombus, angiosarcoma, mesothelioma, metastatic carcinoma, metastatic peripheral nerve sheath tumor, or metastatic myoepithelial carcinoma. So, but we need to get a immunohistochemistry and histopathology for the confirmation diagnosis, and it turned out to be biphasic synovial sarcoma. Now, why this is a unique? Because the presentation of the tumor is very deceptive. Initially, it seemed like the tumor could have been it could be a myxoma, simple RA myxoma, but later on it turned out to be a synovial sarcoma. It is a very rare entity. Less than 0.1% of the all cardiac neoplasms, only less than 0.1% is the synovial sarcoma. Associated thrombocytopenia to the presentation, it adds a risk of bleeding in the post-operative period, even if the patient is operated off pump, but this patient has been on pump. So there is another factor. Also, the factor of anticoagulation for the post-operative period, if the count has been, the platelet count has been very low, so it also adds to the risk. So these are the points which add uniqueness to the case. To summarize, we can see the synovial sarcoma, the percentage of cardiac neoplasm, the prevalence is very low for synovial sarcoma, less than 1%. It constitutes some 4.2% of malignant cardiac sarcomas and less than 0.1% of total cardiac neoplasms. Just few points before summarizing, before ending. Primary cardiac synovial sarcoma is first described in 1978. And it may present as a biphasic tumor, or it can present as a monophasic tumor, or it can be a poorly differentiated tumor, most commonly occurring in the fourth decade of life, predominantly seen in males. Complete dissection along with surgery provides better palliation and survival, but the mass has infiltrated into the local tissue or into the lungs, the survival is not great. And chemotherapy based on doxorubicin and ifosfamide has been used most commonly to treat those patients. Association with thrombocytopenia, this is a very rarely reported combination. I've seen one paper in which the mass was originating from the mitral valve, and they have reported the case of left-sided cardiac synovial sarcoma along with thrombocytopenia. There can be certain factors which amount to thrombocytopenia, maybe by drugs, autoimmune destruction of the platelets, or DIC or TTP. But consumption of the thrombocytes seems to be the most common and most logical factor which is involved due to the frictional and the shearing of the platelets, and change in the dimensions of the right atrium, which leads to turbulence of the blood flow, can lead to increased consumption. So this also explains the reason why after the surgery, with the removal of the mass, post surgery, third day or second day, there is a sudden rise in the platelet count in the profile. Impaired production can also be a reason, but this is not in our case. Or another factor can be cardiac tumor inducing an autoimmune response with the antibodies against the target antigens over the platelet, but this is also not clearly established in any of the reported cases so far. So I think the association of thrombocytopenia along with the rarely reported primary cardiac synovial sarcoma, this has been the unique feature of this case. We can report this case. We have done the follow-up the patient. Patient has come for 1 month follow-up. I think if patient when come for the 3 to 6 month follow-up, and if the patient is going fine, we can report this case as a rare primary cardiac synovial sarcoma originating from the tricuspid valve leaflet with a severe thrombocytopenia. So that can be reported for a publication. So that's it. Thank you.